Office who will be here presently. We will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by,
Okay, I'll do it.
thank you.
Please turn to our glorious flag and put your right hand in your heart. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
Of the United States of America,
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, please read the guidelines for oral communications.
Pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.3, the public shall directly address the legislative body concerning items that have been described in the notice of special meeting.
I have no cards. Is there anyone who wishes to address these bodies? If there are no objections, I'll declare oral communications closed. So ordered. At this time, I would like to call Finance Director Felice Lopez to come to the podium for a presentation.
Through the chair, while Finance Director is getting ready to present, I would like to also notify Council that a longer, more detailed version of this presentation will be during the Council meeting. This is the budget workshop, public workshop version of that presentation. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, everyone. Mayor Pro Tem, Council, staff and residents. Just to let you know, we notified, or we put a notification in the paper on 2 different dates about this meeting and about the presentation for this, the regular meeting at 6 o'clock. It was on May 9th and May 16th. We put binders in the library and in City Clerk's office as we do every year. And we also posted the budget, the proposed budget on the city website. Okay, so our proposed budget for 1920 is $77,635,629. It's an increase of about $5 million, which is 6.8% increase. And I'll go through each of the departments and just give you a little bit of information on their increases or decreases. For City Council, you see that there's an increase of about $3,000. This is a combination of City Council and City Treasurer, and this was for increase in conference expenses for the City Treasurer's office. If we go down to non-departmental, it's a combination of non-departmental and Measure HH. It's a total of $22.7 million for 18-19 and increasing to $24.3 million for 19-20. That increase is about about $1.6 million. 5.6 of that budget is $5.6 million of that budget is for the fire contract. We had an increase in the fire contract, in our 911 cost, and in debt service. For City Clerk's department, you see that there was a decrease of about $70,000. That is for election costs. Their budget goes up about $100,000 for elections, and then it decreases in the next year. For City Manager's office, you can see that there's an increase of about $170,000, and this is because we are finally going to, after 4 years, going to have a full-time city manager.
We are going to hire a new city manager.
If we go down into the city attorney's department, you see that there's an increase of about $220,000 for 19-20. And that is because we hired a full-time prosecutor. For cable TV, there's a small increase of about $13,000. And finance, there's an increase of about $20,000. For human resources, there's an increase of $59,000, which is related to recruitment cost increases. We are recruiting for police officers on a year-round basis, and we are also filling retirements, several that are coming in the next fiscal year. And also, they're bringing on an additional part-time employee. For the police department, you'll see that their increase is about 2.3 million. Most of that is in employee costs. They have, overall, every department has had health increases, healthcare cost increases, liability cost increases, and workers' comp increases. But because the police department is our largest, most departments are 5 to 40 employees, and they have 173 employees, so you can see that there's a much larger increase there. Also, there was an increase in minimum wage, so their part-time employees have also seen that, caused that increase. For Public Works, there's an increase of about $114,000, and this is as a result of losing our CDBG funding. For planning, there is an increase of about $170,000. There was a little bit of reorganization there, and also the same health, liability, and workers' comp increases.
And one other thing, we are also losing CDBG for code enforcement.
Also losing
That is
CDBG.
the largest part of it.
Yes. For building and safety, there's a slight decrease, and that was about $12,000, and that was due to the retirement of our longtime director. And for Parks and Recreation, we see that there's an increase of about $277,000. About $79,000 of that is due to the minimum wage increase. Parks and Recreation and Police Department have the highest percentage of part-time employees. So again, just to summarize, the budget is increasing by about $5 million. Overall, the increases are due to benefit rate increases due to healthcare, workers' comp, and liability. Also increases in debt service and fire and 911 costs, as well as the minimum wage increase. And here you'll see the graph version of our budget. So for public safety, which includes police, fire, and 911, it's 72% of our budget, 55 million, 55.5 million. Public Works, Building and Safety, Recreation, and Planning are 12% of our budget. Legislative and Administrative Services are 4.6% of our budget. And those departments consist of Mayor and City Council, Treasurer, City Clerk, Finance, Licensing, and Human Resources. And our non-departmental cost is almost 7.9 million, which is 10% of our budget. Looking at it by category, personnel makes up 59% of our budget. Contract services is 18% of our budget, 13.9 million. Maintenance and operations is 10.5 million. Retiree health and employee relations is just about 3.7 million, and operating transfers is 3.47 million. Capital outlay is not even a percentage. It's 318,000. So our revenues have increased. If you can take a look at our taxes, the total increase is going up to $77,673,024 for 1920. Taxes increased by about 3.3 million, and that increase is related to hotel taxes, the TOT rates, and also increases in sales tax due to our economy. In licenses and permits, there was a slight decrease of $73,000. For fines and forfeitures, you'll see that it remains the same. And revenue for use of money, that's our interest on investment, which we've talked about a little bit in the last few months, is increasing to $200,000. The intergovernmental state, which includes VLF, state mandated costs, and other state grants, is increasing by $677,000. The majority of that is VLF, which is $11 million. Intergovernmental county is a park grant, and we'll have that same grant in the coming year. Service charges is increasing by 60,000, and that's related to rentals, fees, and reimbursements. For other contributions, we have a decrease of about 27,000, and that's just in miscellaneous revenue. For program contributions, they remain the same. Prop A will continue to contribute towards the police department for 750,000. And program contributions for the airship will remain the same at 100,000. And you can see for graffiti, we're losing the CDBG contribution. So there's a total increase in our revenue budget of $4 million, which is 5.5% increase. And our grants and restricted funds are a total of $73,750,436. So our total revenue for the entire city budget would be $151,423,000. And again, just in a graph form, you can see that taxes make up the majority of our revenue, which is 73% at $56.5 million. Licensing and permits is 3%, fines and forfeitures are 4%, intergovernmental is 14%, and charges and services is 3%. Are there any questions?
To the chair.
Are there questions for Felice?
Yeah, let me have a quick
Councilman
question. Yeah.
Montero?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So the revenue, the taxes, right?
Yes.
Do we know, like if you would make a breakdown, how much is that is from Measure HH?
Measure HH is 10 million for 1920.
Yeah, because I have on this binder, but I just want to make sure that people understand, that because that was basically the main increase was from that Measure
Right,
HH.
for this fiscal year, we budgeted 8 million for Measure HH, and next year is increasing to 10.
And are we still paying HUD those $200-something thousand from that property that I
Yes.
want to mention no name?
Yes.
Yes, but that is not coming from general fund.
Okay, I know it's coming
From
from CDBG, yeah.
yes.
So
Right.
when did that supposed to end?
No, he's referring to that. It probably matures, Councilmember Montero, sooner than next 10 years.
Oh, next thing.
Yeah, but it was refinanced recently, and we were able to lower the interest quite a bit. But sooner than 10 years, I cannot tell you exactly, but between 5 to 10 years, it will be done. But then that money will be available through CDBG.
Okay. Yeah. So that's it for now.
Are there other questions for Ms. Lopez? Thank you, Ms. Lopez.
Thank you.
Mr. City Manager, is there anything additional that you'd like to say?
No, Mayor Pro Tem, like I mentioned, we have more detailed version of this presentation at 6 o'clock.
All right, so at this point, if there are no further comments from,
No, no,
Councilman-
I don't.
Oh, you had
We-
your-
We had a little sit-down a little while ago, and she answered a few questions that I had.
okay, so you have no questions?
No, no.
All right, thank you. If there are no further questions from council or staff, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Felicia, don't go nowhere.